Hi everybody, this is Heather Coleman, intuitive medium, spiritual coach, yoga instructor, meditation facilitator. And so, today we are going to be talking about connecting with your spirit guides. And I mean, this is a pretty big topic, and just know that we're really just touching on certain important aspects of it in today's video, but there's so much to this. First thing I want to say is that connecting with your guides is so personal and specific to you. There is no right or wrong. You might notice a lot that comes up for you in this video, but there might be signs or certain techniques that you've discovered that work for you that are different from this. So be aware of that and just know that your journey of connecting with your spirit guides is your very own. I can give you the keys, I can give you the tools, but the journey is yours and special for you. So the first thing I like to explain to people, especially people who are really new to all this, everyone has a spiritual guidance team, and there are three main sets of beings that make up a spirit team. Most people have at least one deceased loved one on their spirit team. An exception to this could be children, because often children who haven't been too many years yet on this earthly plane, sometimes children just haven't had anyone die yet in their family that has gone on to become a guide. So, but most people, generally speaking, have at least one deceased loved one on their spirit team. So deceased loved ones, angels, and spirit guides are the three main types. Angels come in many different forms. There are actually 12 different classifications of angels, although there are some classifications that don't classifications of angels who do not typically and commonly work as guides. I'm going to talk about the three types that very commonly do work as spirit guides. The angels often fill more than one role. So you've got archangels, you've got guardian angels, and you've just got angels. They're just called angels. So those are the three main types that most people are connecting with when you might notice some of the things we're going to be talking about a little later on in today's video. So deceased loved ones, angels, and spirit guides are what make up most people's spiritual guide teams. Spirit guides are so vast and varied. The term spirit guide can easily be talking about an angel who doubles as a spirit guide, animals, all kinds of animals, beings that are difficult for us to wrap our human minds around, different types of beings that are of a different shape, form, and language who are able to guide us. So that's step one in connecting with your spirit guides, is just be open-minded. Just know that spirit guides may be very human in form and appearance, or they may be very different. It's all for you. And they will appear, quote unquote, in the best way for you. Now, when I say appear, sure, that does happen for some people, that your guide will actually appear where you will see them as you would see me in front of you on your computer or phone or tablet, however you're watching this video. Some people will see their guides in dreams. So that's something to be aware of, is pay attention to your dreams and who pops up in your dreams. The biggest thing I always suggest to people who say, I really want to feel more aware and connected and more clearly understanding my guides, regular meditation. So if you don't already have a meditation practice, I highly recommend that you develop one. And if you don't know how to start, a great place would be by checking out my short yoga meditation videos. I have a couple of just pure meditations on my channel. I have a couple of videos that are primarily yoga, but the majority of those videos are a hybrid, yoga and meditation. So what that means is that the yoga is not a super intense workout. At this point, that's not where we're focusing on the channel. We want to get a little movement for the body. But the most important thing with the yoga is that we want to open up the parts of our energy field, our aura, that allow us to understand, see, hear our guides. And that's the next thing I want to get to, is different ways you can observe your guides or hear from them. You might notice visual signs such as feathers, coins. Some of this is going to overlap with some of our other videos on signs from your deceased. Synchronicity is the biggest one I notice, and I hear a lot of people saying. Like just earlier today, I had pre-selected some cards. I was watching some documentaries on Hulu about, well, giraffes popped up actually, so that might be something today, but elephants and panthers. And so I had gone ahead and found, I was flipping through a deck of cards because the panthers that were featured on this one show looked a lot like the cover art picture on a deck of cards, and I wanted to find that card. And so the elephant and panther jumped out for me from that card deck. And again, I noticed this synchronicity. Well, then I realized after I'd selected these cards, just out of pure curiosity, that these cards were for my fireside reading on Facebook and YouTube. Then when I was taking care of my snake Beth today, it just dawned on me that she was meant to be a part of that video. So that was a series of signs actually from Beth, my snake who is incarnate, who also acts as a spirit guide. All of the synchronicity, these documentaries popping up that I was watching, these animal videos I was watching on YouTube, these animal cards, and then just getting this message, and I'm going to explain to you how that happened. Thoughts that seem to just pop into your head often are messages from your spirit guides. And in this case, I was handling Beth, and I was thinking to myself, you know, she's a little active today. She's really moving around. And I thought, I would like to be doing more than just holding Beth. I want to be doing something productive. And this thought seemed to pop into my head, and I'll get to that, of why not just have Beth with me on the video? The thought came into my mind telepathically from Beth herself. And so that is a big way that guides will communicate with you, which is infusing thoughts right into your subconscious, which will rise up into your conscious mind. So solutions that just creative solutions that seem to pop into your head, solutions to problems, ideas, signs, answers to questions you've had on your mind. A lot of times angels and guides will give you sequences of signs to make sure that you get them, because for most of us, one sign may not be enough because we are so consumed with our daily life, the material world that's right in front of us. And so it's easy for us to either miss a sign completely or to not be certain if a certain sign is telling us something. And again, a great example is what happened with me, where I was watching these documentaries probably for a good week. And then all day yesterday, I was watching a bunch of animal videos on YouTube. I didn't even realize just then that I was being guided to do an entire video, that reading that was really based on the animal guides. I didn't even realize initially what message that was giving me. So again, those multiple messages. There are so many different signs your guides may give you. Signs can be visual, signs can be something you hear, songs on the radio. And I encourage you, if songs keep popping up around you or in your mind, to listen to the lyrics of the songs, to notice whether that song might be mirroring something that you're going through at that point in your life, or something you're going to be doing soon, or maybe a problem you're having, or the nature of a relationship something you're trying to figure out in your life. There are just so many different ways guides will send you signs. Sometimes it'll be something that's unmistakable. A friend of mine recently said that working at a retail store, and standing behind the counter, a feather literally just fell from she didn't know where right onto her forehead. And that was a sign from one of her spirit guides. So interpreting the signs, there's always good old Google. So there's always that. I encourage people to take some time to go inward on the signs that they receive from their guides, or whether or not something is a sign. Repetitive sightings. Recently on hikes with my son, again, this theme of the animals keeps coming up. We saw a lot of garter snakes, more than we ever did before we had a snake of our own. And again, this was all synchronistic to that video that was going to be coming up. I encourage you to find a way to record, number one, the signs that you receive. And keep in mind, we've talked a lot about visual and auditory signs today, but sometimes communications from your guides can come in the form of a smell or a taste or a touch. Maybe a certain food or drink crosses your path that doesn't normally. Maybe you find yourself driving by a certain restaurant or coffee shop that wasn't pre-planned, and there's a certain food that makes you either think of a deceased loved one or just gets your mind moving in a certain direction, because again, our guides are always directing us to our highest path and helping us solve our problems through what they bring to our five senses. So when I think I said the word notebooking, but if I didn't, what I recommend people do is keep some sort of a record. And I use the word notebooking, but it doesn't have to be a pen and paper notebook. It could be an auditory recording notebook. One practice, and this is right for those people who are super disciplined, but if you're not one who can sit for long and meditate, you don't have to do this. So take this next tip if it fits your lifestyle, but if it doesn't, find your own way to notebook. But a great practice for people who are really wanting to connect more with their guides is to set an intention, write down an intention. Maybe it's, I'd like to better understand my master spirit guide that came through, or I'd like to better see what this guide looks like, or I'd like to better understand who else is on my spirit team, or what are they trying to tell me. Write, whatever it is, you write your intention down, you go into your meditation, and when you come out of your meditation, you free write in your notebook. You don't edit, you don't really think much, you just write. You just write. And this is a very powerful way to just channel the information or download the information. And the last thing I want to touch on, and this I think is going to become a video at some point. I'm kind of, again, with the co-creation, I always wait to see when things are going to become manifest. But one thing I want to mention is touching on something that came up earlier. Guides will appear to us, quote unquote, in the ways that we most need them to. Like my father usually looks the way he did when he was alive and in his prime, so I know it's him, but he doesn't always look like that on the other side. So on that end, angels do not have a gender. However, if for you, let's say you work closely with Archangel Michael and it's always a he, that's cool. Good, good. So what that means is that you do best feeling like you have a male energy protecting you. Wonderful, awesome. For me, another example, Archangel Gabriel is almost always female, almost always for me. And that's because, again, this is just based on me. Archangel Gabriel helps us a lot with parenting and communication. And so I'm a mom, so it just helps me to feel as if I've got another mom type helping me out, like a more of a womanly energy. So again, the angels are a great example because they never have a gender, but even your deceased loved ones, now that they're on the other side, don't really have a gender. And any of your guides, whether that's an animal guide or a highly advanced humanoid guide, whatever that might be for you, just keep in mind that they will assume a gender as a way for you to understand them, to call on them, to picture them. And that's based on you. And again, we'll talk more about that in a video, but just know that the gender they're assuming is sending you a message right there. Okay, like if you need this guide to be female, interesting, and it's worth looking into why that is. So again, we'll get into more of that detail in a future video, but in the meantime, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Subscribe to the channel, check me out on Facebook, and I hope to see you in the next video. Namaste.